Tom worked late every night in the tall glass building where Bright Core Finance was located. He pushed his cleaning cart slowly across the shining floor while the city lights outside glowed softly. The building was quiet after all the workers left, and only the sound of his wheels and his breathing filled the halls. Tom did not mind the quiet because it gave him time to think about his life and his young son Leo. Leo was only 8 years old and he waited for his father every night so they could eat together and talk about school. Tom worked hard because Leo was the most important thing in his life. Tom had once studied business when he was young and he loved numbers and plans. Life became hard after Leo lost his mother and Tom had to take any job he could find. That was how he became a janitor, even though his mind was full of ideas. While he cleaned offices and empty trash bins, he often read papers left behind on desks. He learned about money and markets while holding a mop. He did not complain because he believed that one day something would change. One night Tom was cleaning the top floor where the leaders of Bright Core worked. A large meeting room was still full of people and voices. Tom could see through the glass walls and he noticed that the faces inside looked worried. A big screen showed red numbers and falling lines that meant the company was losing money. The man leading the meeting was Mark, the billionaire CEO who was known all over the city. Mark was usually calm and confident, but now his voice was tight with stress. Tom slowed down his steps as he listened from a distance. Mark spoke about a $50 million problem that was hurting the company. The main investment had gone wrong and they could not find a way to fix it. The experts around the table kept shaking their heads because they had no clear solution. Tom felt a strange feeling in his chest because he had seen this problem before in papers he had found. Months earlier Tom had discovered a report that showed a risky pattern in the investment. During his breaks he had studied it, and even written notes in a small notebook he carried. He had seen that there was a safer market that could help balance the loss. Now as he listened to the meeting he realized that his idea could save them. The next morning Tom stood near the main office with his notebook hidden in his pocket. He felt nervous but he knew he had to try. When Mark walked out of the elevator Tom stepped forward and spoke in a calm voice. He said he had an idea that could help the company. People nearby stopped and looked at him. Mark looked down at Tom and smiled in a way that showed surprise and doubt. He asked why a janitor was talking about business plans. Tom explained that he had studied finance before and that he followed the market closely. He said the company had made a risky move and that there was another path they could take. Some workers around them began to laugh softly because they thought it was strange. Mark waved his hand and said Bright Core hired real experts to handle big problems. He told Tom to go back to cleaning. Tom felt his face grow warm but he did not stop. He spoke about the smaller market that could bring steady returns and help recover the loss. Mark frowned and asked where Tom had learned such details. Tom said he had read the reports left in the meeting rooms. Mark did not like that answer. He said it was not proper for a janitor to look at company documents. He signaled to security to move Tom away. Later that day Tom was called into a small office. A manager told him that he was fired for stepping out of his role. Tom tried to explain that he only wanted to help the company. The manager did not listen and simply handed him a paper. Tom walked out of the building holding his box of belongings. His notebook was inside the box. When Tom reached home, Leo ran to him and hugged him. Tom told Leo that he had lost his job. Leo looked worried, but he told his father that they would be okay. Tom smiled because his son always believed in him. Back at Bright Core the situation was getting worse. The experts could not stop the losses and the red numbers on the screen kept growing. Mark sat alone in his office thinking about what to do. He remembered the janitor who had tried to speak. For a moment he wondered if there was something in those words. Tom sat at his small table at home and opened his notebook. He looked at the simple plan he had written. He knew it could work. He also knew that no one had listened to him. He felt sad but he did not lose hope. He believed that truth always finds a way to be seen. As the city lights shone through his window, Tom made a quiet promise to himself that he would keep trying for Leo and for the future. And far away in a tall glass tower, A powerful company was slowly falling, while the man who could save it was sitting at home with his son. The next morning Tom woke up early even though he had no job to go to. He made breakfast for Leo and tried to smile so his son would not feel afraid. Leo went to school with his backpack while Tom stayed behind in the quiet apartment. He sat at the small table and opened his notebook again. He looked at the pages full of numbers and simple charts. He knew his plan could fix the company problem if someone would only listen. Tom decided that he would not give up. He put on his clean shirt and walked back toward the bright core building. The tall glass tower still looked strong, but inside the company was weak. When Tom reached the front desk, the guard stopped him. Tom calmly asked if he could speak with someone from the finance team. The guard remembered him and shook his head. Tom then asked if he could leave a note. After a long moment, the guard allowed him to place his notebook in an envelope and drop it at the desk. Inside the building, Mark was meeting with his team again. The loss was growing and the pressure was heavy. The experts were confused and tired. Mark tried to stay calm, but his hands shook slightly. A worker came in and handed him an envelope. Mark opened it and saw the janitor notebook inside. He felt annoyed at first, but curiosity made him look at the pages. As Mark read the notes, his face slowly changed. The numbers made sense. The pattern was clear. The small market that Tom had written about could bring steady profit and reduce risk. Mark felt a cold wave run through his body. He realized that the janitor had been right. Mark called for his team and showed them the plan. At first they laughed, but then they saw the logic. One by one their expressions became serious. The solution was simple but smart. They had missed it because they were focused on big risky moves. Mark felt a deep mix of shame and surprise. He had mocked the man who could save them. He told his assistant to find Tom right away. Tom was at home helping Leo with homework when the phone rang. A woman from Bright Core said that Mark wanted to see him. Tom felt his heart race, but he agreed to come. When Tom arrived at the building, the guards let him in. He walked through the halls that he had cleaned so many times. This time people looked at him with curiosity instead of laughter. Mark met Tom in the conference room. He spoke in a different tone now. He thanked Tom for the plan. He admitted that he had been wrong. Tom listened quietly. He explained the idea again in simple words. The team asked him questions and he answered calmly. The company began to act on the plan that same day. They moved money into the safer market and slowly the losses started to stop. The red numbers on the screen began to fade. Mark offered Tom a job in the finance team. He also offered to pay him well. Tom felt proud but also cautious. He said he would think about it. At home, Leo asked what had happened. Tom told him that the company had called him back. Leo smiled and said he knew his father was smart. But there was something else that Tom did not know yet. Mark had a secret. A secret that was not about money. A secret that would change everything. As Bright Core slowly began to recover, Mark sat alone in his office. He looked at a photo on his desk. It was a picture of a woman who was expecting a child. Mark touched the photo with care. He had not told anyone at the company that the woman was very important to him. Tom had no idea that his future was about to be tied to this secret in a way he never imagined. Tom started working at Bright Core again, but this time he was not pushing a cleaning cart. He now sat at a small desk in the finance office where he looked at numbers and charts all day. The people who once walked past him without a glance now asked him questions. Tom stayed humble and kind because he never forgot where he came from. Every evening Tom went home to Leo and told him stories about his day. Leo was proud of his father and liked to hear how Tom helped solve problems. Their small home felt warmer now because hope had returned. At Bright Core, the new plan began to show results. The safe market brought steady money and the company started to breathe again. Mark felt relief for the first time in many weeks. Yet he also felt uneasy because of the secret he carried. One afternoon Mark called Tom into his office. Mark looked serious and tired. He told Tom that there was something important he needed to share. Tom listened quietly. Mark spoke about a woman who was expecting a child. He said she was not just someone close to him, but someone whose future was deeply tied to the company. He said that if anything happened to Bright Core, it would hurt more than just the business. Tom could see the worry in Mark's eyes. Mark explained that he had kept this secret because he did not want the media or investors to use it against him. Tom understood because he also protected his son from the harsh world. Tom promised to keep the secret safe. Mark thanked him and said he trusted him. The days passed and the company grew stronger. The team began to respect Tom not just for his ideas but for his calm way of working. Some even asked him how he learned so much. Tom told them that learning never stops no matter what job you have. One evening Tom stayed late at the office. He was reviewing the numbers when he noticed something strange. A small part of the investment was still in danger. It was hidden deep in the system. Tom realized that if this part failed, it could still cause trouble. Tom went to Mark and showed him the issue. Mark was surprised. He had thought everything was fixed. Tom explained a new adjustment that could protect the company fully. Mark agreed to act on it. As they worked together, Mark saw how careful and honest Tom was. He began to respect him not just as a worker but as a person. At home, Leo asked his father why he looked tired. Tom said he was helping many people now. Leo smiled and said his father was a hero. Tom laughed softly and hugged him. One day Mark invited Tom to lunch. They talked about life, not just business. Mark asked about Leo. Tom spoke about being a single parent and about love and responsibility. Mark listened closely. Mark felt a deep connection. He saw in Tom the kind of strength he wanted for the future. But trouble was not over yet. Some investors were angry about the losses and wanted answers. Mark knew that if the truth came out about how a janitor had saved them, it could shake their trust. He worried that his own pride had already caused damage. Tom did not care about credit. He only wanted stability. He wanted a safe future for Leo. As pressure grew, Mark faced a choice. He could hide Tom's role or he could tell the truth. And his secret about the woman and the child made the choice even harder. The story was moving toward a moment that would change both their lives forever. The pressure on Bright Core became heavier as the investors demanded clear answers about the past losses. Mark knew that hiding the truth would only make things worse. He thought about Tom and the simple notebook that had saved the company. He also thought about the woman and the child who depended on the future of Bright Core. Mark made a brave decision to speak honestly. Mark called a large meeting with all the investors and top workers. The room was filled with quiet tension. Mark stood in front of everyone and spoke with a steady voice. He told them about the 50 million problem and how it had almost destroyed the company. He then told them that the solution came from someone they never expected. Mark asked Tom to come forward. Tom walked to the front feeling nervous but calm. Mark told everyone how Tom had studied the reports and found the safe path that saved Bright Core. The room was silent. Many people looked shocked. Some investors felt embarrassed because they had never noticed the janitor. Others felt respect. They could not deny that the numbers were real. Mark also shared his personal truth. He spoke about the woman who was expecting a child and how the future of the company mattered deeply to him now more than ever. He said that this was why he wanted Bright Core to be honest and strong. The room slowly filled with understanding. The investors agreed to support the new direction. They praised Tom for his smart thinking. After the meeting, Mark offered Tom a new role as a lead advisor. He also offered him a stable future. Tom accepted because he knew it would help Leo. Tom went home that night and told Leo everything. Leo hugged him and said he was proud. Tom felt his heart full. Bright Core grew stronger in the months that followed. The safe market plan kept bringing steady profit. The company regained its place in the city. Mark and Tom continued to work together. They built a bond based on trust. Mark also felt more hopeful about his personal life. Tom never forgot that he once cleaned those halls. He stayed kind to everyone. Leo grew happier knowing that his father had a bright future. The story of the janitor who saved a great company became known as a tale of wisdom and respect. And in the end, it was not wealth that changed everything but honesty and courage.